The millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View starts right now.
Across America, live, this is Point of View. And now, Kerby Anderson.
Friday today, and as our weekend edition, it is also, of course, the end of Truth Team Week, and we certainly do encourage you to respond. And in just a few minutes, we'll talk about that. In studio, as always, Penna, Dexter, and Kelly Shackelford. Brad Fisk still joins us as well. And Penna, when we talk about all these issues, of course, we always focus on religious liberty. And with Kelly Shackelford here, I think we have a couple of announcements, don't we?
I love Fridays because of that very thing. Because it's so important for us to protect our religious liberties, and Liberty First Liberty Institute is just crucial in doing that. Some of these cases are so important, and I do want Kelly to kind of explain what has happened and taken place this week, because there have been a couple of big actions. First, Kelly, I did my commentary a couple of weeks ago on Coach Kennedy's case, and at the very end of it, I said he was going to continue to fight in the face of a bad decision from the three-judge panel at the Ninth Circuit, because he's a Marine. I know there are a lot of other reasons he's going to fight, but tell us what has happened with that case this week.
Well, a quick reminder for everybody, of course, Coach Kennedy is the coach who was fired because after the game, on the field, when his players were singing the fight song somewhere else, and when you go and you shake the hand of the other coach, he went to a knee and silently for 15, 20 seconds said a prayer, silently thanking God for the privilege of coaching his players. And he was fired for doing that. So that's the case. The Ninth Circuit ruled, I'm not making this up, this is the Ninth Circuit. Rush Limbaugh calls it the Ninth Circus, right? It's the most liberal federal court of appeals in the country. It's out of San Francisco. And they ruled that coaches are not allowed to pray if anyone can see them. That was the ruling. If you're in a closet, okay, but if anybody could see you, a spectator, a fan, anybody, then you can't do it. It reminds you of Daniel, right? Well, we have just now filed the appeal. You really wouldn't call it an appeal. What it's called is an appeal en banc. You get 3 judges at random, and there's actually a much larger number of judges on the Ninth Circuit. We just went to the bigger, saying, you've got to overturn the 3-judge panel and rehear this, all of you. Great sign. Within 24 hours, we got a response, meaning at least one of the judges said, I'm asking for this. So it told the other side, you file a response to this because there are judges interested. So we've started the process. If whatever happens at the Ninth Circuit, which is, again, the more liberal in the country, the next step is the United States Supreme Court. So be praying for Coach Kennedy, be praying for this case. This affects so many millions and millions of people in this country that it's something that I think everybody should have in their prayers.
Okay, the Jewish high holy days are upon us, and I mean, this case out in California having to do with an animal rights group coming in and suing, it's got another development too, so explain that.
This is a group that has, it's a Jewish synagogue, it's a Jewish, faith that has practiced, something that Jews have practiced for over 1,200 years, which is, Yom Kippur. When Yom Kippur comes up, there is a kosher killing of a chicken that expresses the atonement, the blood that's necessary. There's life and death. Of course, as Christians, we see Jesus as obviously fulfilling that. But this is obviously a very serious deal. Well, they filed their lawsuits. We've now had 4 victories, 4 different lawsuit victories defending this synagogue from animal rights activist attacks. The newest one, though, is one I couldn't even conceive of. They filed a lawsuit against the city of Irvine, California, against the police, saying we want you, Judge, to order the police to go into their services and stop this. And we are saying that if they won't do that, we will, as private citizens, appoint ourselves as citizens police, and we will go in. So we are now having to go in on behalf of a synagogue and say, hold on a second, we can't have citizens saying that they're now police entering your worship service and attacking people because of the ceremonies that they're engaging in. I mean, talk about the precedent. I mean, your church is next, right? So that was the newest one this week. They have agreed until the judge rules not to do that. So we at least stopped them phase one. But this is now lawsuit number 4. We've won all of them so far, including at the Ninth Circuit so far. But the synagogues around the country are under attack in a number of these situations that we're representing. But this is the most recent outrage that you can't make up.
We've got all sorts of other announcements from Kelly Shackelford, but Brad Fisk, we have an announcement here as well. We're coming to the end of Truth Team Week, and I think we have a match that's available.
We do, but it's a special match. We've never really done this at Point of View before. This is pretty exciting. A friend of the ministry has stepped forward with a $5,000 match, and then he said, if you get that $5,000 match done, it's a dollar for dollar match from the listeners before the top of the hour, I'll add another $5,000 into the match. But you got to do the first one first.
So the pressure's on.
Oh, yeah. This hour, we need to hear from you this hour, a total of a $5,000 dollar for dollar match. What that means, if you give it $1 a day, it becomes $2 a day. If you give that $45 gift as an anniversary gift, it becomes $90. If you give a $5 bill, $5 single gift, it becomes $10. All single gifts, all monthly gifts are doubled, and if we get it done before the top of the hour, then we'll get another $5,000. So in essence, it's a double-double.
You're kind of unleashing the potential for even a triple.
Yeah, your gift is actually being really doubled, is another way to look at it. So here's the phone number to call. It's 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. 5151. Let's get this done early in the hour and not push it right to the edge, shall we? We can also give online.
That's certainly the case, and that is pointofview.net. If you go to pointofview.net, you'll see a banner there, and it says Be the One. And we also talk about only 1 in 800 listeners actually give to Point of View. We're talking about rebuilding truth and a post-truth culture. We're talking about religious liberty at the moment with Penna, Dexter, and Kelly Shackelford. We have some more announcements, by the way, in just a minute, which we're going to get to because there are some other articles we've posted here today that take you to First Liberty. But we do need to hear from you. 800-347-5151. And Brad, we have a number of individuals that have come in today, a couple of new individuals that have not answered the phones today, and they would love to get your phone call.
If you really are interested in getting the news through a biblical lens, the biblical worldview through that lens, you are in the right place right here at Point of View. We've been doing this for 45 years, and we're planning to continue for at least another 45 years with your help and your partnership. 1-800-347-5151.
1-800-347-5151. It's a 2-part match, so really $10,000 is at stake.
Yeah.
But we have to make the first $5,000, and we need to hear from people right now. So the phones need to ring as we go to a break, and when we come back, Kelly's going to talk about ending discrimination from FEMA. You know, we've been talking about some of these hurricanes and things like that, and so that will be one of those issues also, which will take you to First Liberty. And again, as you go to the website, you can find some of the articles we've posted today, also a link to our good friends at First Liberty Institute, but I hope you'll also click on that button that says Be the One. We also have some various gifts that we make available to you, and you can see what those are. We'll talk about those a little bit later in the program, but 45 years of broadcast, and we're encouraging you for as little as $1 a day. Some people might want to give $45 a month in honor of 45 years, but let's give you a chance to make that phone call right now. 800-347-5151, 800-347-5151. Every dollar doubled.
This is Viewpoints with Kerby Anderson.
You know, overall, it has been a disappointing summer for Hollywood, but one movie recently provided a significant bump in box office sales. The movie It is an adaptation of Stephen King's 1986 novel and broke many box office records for September. Why is a scary movie doing so well in theaters? There are many theories. First, that there has been a build-up to the movie after the first trailer was released in March. It set a record of 197 million global views. Of course, you could point to other movie trailers that did well but didn't perform when it came time to put people in the seats. Movies like Transformers, King Arthur, and The Mummy, with well-known titles and huge budgets, flopped this summer. Second, there's the physiological response. Scary movies increase the heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration. Professor Glenn Sparks explains that frightening films leave a physiological arousal known as the excitation transfer process. The rush of excitement keeps them coming back for more. Third, Joanna Robinson, writing in Vanity Fair, reminds us that people tired of being shushed or tired of shushing don't have that problem in horror movies. People are expected to scream, shriek, and even talk back to the screen. It is a communal experience of shared terror. Last month, I quoted from Pastor Rick Stedman, who argues that superhero movies and horror movies are quite popular because our materialistic society has repressed belief in the supernatural. Quoting from the book Monsters from the Id by Michael Jones, Rick Stedman uses the psychological terms of sublimation and displacement to explain our fascination with these movies. As a society, we may deny the supernatural, but God has placed eternity in our hearts, so we look for the supernatural element in other areas, like fantasy films and horror movies. I'm Kerby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
Take Kerby and the Point of View team with you on the go with the Point of View app. Search for Point of View Radio at the Apple or Google Play stores. Point of View Truth Team 360, celebrating 45 years.
Hi, this is Josh McDowell. Kerby, I can't believe it. It's been 45 years of excellent broadcasting. Wow, it seems like 45 months. Congratulations. And you know, Kerby, when I think of you, there's several thoughts immediately come to my mind. One, you're one of the few who are so professional and yet so personal when you interview someone. It's a great balance. And so I just want to say the entire body of Christ is better off because of Point of View Radio on 45 years. And boy, for any of you listening, I'll tell you this. Financially, you can't do what Kerby's done over the years without some good financial partners. Invest in Point of View Radio, and you will never go wrong. God bless.
Point of View Truth Team 360.
Josh McDowell called in that yesterday, and we're going to have him in studio next week, so looking forward to that. Yeah. We have Around the Roundtable here on our Truth Team Week coming to an end. Penna, Dexter, Kelly Shackelford, and Brad Fisk. And Brad, just before we get back to this issue of FEMA discrimination, that's a fascinating conversation.
Sounds interesting.
It's our first article that we've posted here on the website, pointofview.net. We recognize that people don't give to get, but there are some wonderful thank you gifts that we are sending out to people.
There is. And we'll start with the Century Club. That's $100 a month. And there's several thank you gifts you'll get from the $1 a day level and the Anniversary Club level. But we're going to throw in an Echo Dot from Amazon. And you can play Point of View anytime you want. It'll automatically do that for you. And the Echo Dot's an incredible piece of technology. And as a little thank you gift at $100 a month or more. We've heard from several that have given at that level. So please don't be bashful. Step right in. The level next to that is the Anniversary Club, and that's $45 a month. We're celebrating 45 years of Point of View engaging our culture with a biblical worldview. So we'll send the Bible stick that we're going to talk to you about in a minute, and you're going to get a 1-year subscription to a brand new pocket-sized booklet series that Kerby Anderson is writing. It's a single-topic booklet. It can be read under 10 minutes, and this is the first in an entire series, and you'll get a 1-year subscription to that. And what are some of the topics?
Well, again, the one right now is on Sharia law, then probably immigration and transgender issues, religious liberty, of course, because that's one of our topics. Let me just also mention that at any level you can join us, but we oftentimes suggest $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 a year. Matter of fact, we oftentimes refer to this as Truth Team 360, $360. Also 360 degrees on a compass, because we're looking north, south, east, west. We also have your back, really trying to help you understand what's happening in the culture.
And for everybody who joins at that $1 a day or more, Kerby, we have got an incredible gift. It is the Bible stick, and it's got the entire New Testament preloaded on it with music, sound effects, over 40 voices. It's a word-for-word translation of the English Standard Version, and it's wonderful to listen to. It's not sold in stores. You can only get it here. They don't sell it in stores. It's available right here for your gift of $1 a day or more. You know, Kerby, I think there could be 10 people in the next 5 minutes to call us at 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151, and join the Truth Team at that $1 a day level.
I might mention I see a number of people that are on the phones right now, but I still believe there's at least 1 or 2 open lines for you, so we really want to hear from you. And again, you heard what we mentioned a minute ago. This is a 2-part match. If we meet the $5,000 match in the first hour, we have another $5,000 in the second hour.
That's so awesome. That is awesome.
And I really don't even want to think about it when we don't make it. So let's always think about we are going to make it.
My head's kind of looking at this now, and I'm thinking, okay, let's say you did this Century Club, which is $100 a month. That puts you a fourth of the way to the match.
That's right.
Right. You are correct, because all of it counts.
I'm thinking of what one person who does the Century Club.
Good thinking.
They get us a huge way towards this first match, which we have to meet in the first hour, which then unleashes the second match, and they get the Echo Dot.
Right.
Which is, I think that's one of the Echo Dot's cool.
Yeah,
that is really cool. I mean, the idea that you can just turn it on wherever.
Yeah, all you'd say, we just did it over here a few minutes ago. We just said, turn on Point of View.
Yeah, you talk to it, and it does what you say.
Radio talk show, and then it comes on. And we did it the other day, and we were hearing Penna, Dexter, and Kelly Shackelford from last week. And then if you do it right now, you'd hear yesterday's program with Gary Bauer. And so you don't even have to turn anything. It just immediately plays the program, as well as it tells jokes and all sorts of other fun things about that. Yep. Kelly, again, we have that match, $5,000 match on the table. We got a lot of phone calls in here, but the other issue that I wanted to bring to the table, it's a good First Liberty issue, has to do with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And we've just discovered, I guess this has been around for a while, but I didn't know that if you are a nonprofit organization, you don't qualify the same way as someone else. And so these churches have said, no, wait a minute. As one lawyer put it, Hurricane Harvey didn't cherry pick its victims. FEMA shouldn't cherry pick who it helps. And so this seems like another one of those religious liberty issues.
Well, there's no doubt. We had a press conference in Houston this week to hopefully get this corrected. Here's the truth, the law, the whole situation. The law, the Stafford Act, specifically says that if you are a nonprofit and you are damaged, your structure is damaged, you're supposed to get aid, okay, from FEMA. And it specifically says they are not to discriminate on the basis of religion. That's what the law says.
Yes.
Now, the guideline books that FEMA created, that this has been in place evidently since Bill Clinton administration, but through the Obama administration, says if you're religious, if you're a nonprofit, you get it like the Act says, but not if you're religious.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what they're doing is directly against the law, and what they're finding is 80% of what is being done by the church, by and through the churches. So the group that in these hurricanes is actually saving everybody and doing everything is the only group they're trying to discriminate against. Yeah. Now, the good news is Donald Trump made a very strong statement that in his belief, and this is before any of this came public, I don't think he knew anything about this. He said that churches and religious groups should be treated the same as everybody else. His instincts were right. That's what the law says. So we had a press conference. We have clients. We have churches. We stood in front of a church that was, really harmed. And we said, this has got to stop. Now, this can be changed. The good news is with a stroke of a pen. All the FEMA director has to do is say, these are guideline books that were made up. It's wrong. That's not going to happen on our watch. And these different hurricanes, the churches, the religious groups are being treated the same as everybody else. The problem is the time is running very short because for instance, in Houston, we asked that the president do something for sure by the 25th, because on the 26th is the deadline for you to put in saying, hey, we were hit, we were hurt. And we've asked them to actually extend the deadline because of this confusion with churches and religious groups. But this should be obvious. People can, I think we've got this. If you went to our website, I think you can even watch the press conference. Because I think we did it on Facebook Live and it's out there for people to see. But this is something that I think every American should be up in arms about. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people who are saving lives are the people who are being discriminated against. And I think Point of View listeners know that the church is key when these hurricanes hit.
I went to Facebook Live and watched the press conference when you guys did it the other day, and there were pastors there, and it struck me how much churches are a part of the recovery, and also the immediate help that people get. Churches know the needs because they're right there in the community. So some need help not only because they're such a help in the recovery, but also because many of them have faced damage and flooding and all of that. Mm-hmm. They need to get their facilities in order quickly. So, I know that there's even, pressure to pass a law to change this, but that's going to take time. So this needs to be done quickly.
We'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. The first article we've posted there today, and another reason to support Point of View is we give you the links to First Liberty, the press conference, the press release, and all of that. But Brad, we've got this $5,000 match on the table, and at the moment I actually see some people waiting for the phones to ring.
They are, and here's the phone number. It's 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. You can also give online at pointofview.net. That's pointofview.net. This is a very special, unprecedented match challenge of $5,000.
Very good.
What makes it unprecedented is we have to have that entire $5,000 in hand from you, the listener, as you give another dollar from our friend goes into the total. And once that's done before the top of the hour, this friend is going to give us another $5,000. So your gift right now is actually doubled, okay, if we can use that term. And that's an exciting strategy to follow here. Give now. Don't wait, because we want you to be a part of the match. 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. What a great opportunity to join the Truth Team. $1 a day, I'd suggest highly.
I certainly would. But also, as Kelly points out, if you weren't joined the Century Club, you get us there even faster. 1-800-347-5151.
Every day there are challenges to living as a faithful Christian, but each of those challenges is also an opportunity to influence the culture for Christ. Don't be caught without a response when your coworker says she's moving in with her boyfriend, or when your neighbor wonders what's wrong with supporting transgender rights. Your investment in Point of View Radio equips nearly 1.5 million people to speak the truth in love. We are thankful for those who have given this week, and though the week is over, our work is not. Your investment can change a life, and for a few more hours, that investment will be doubled up to $10,000. Visit pointofview.net/team or call 1-800-347-5151. Choose your level of giving. The greater the investment, the greater the impact. And thanks to a ministry friend, whatever you choose will be doubled, and that includes your monthly gift for an entire year. Today is the final day. Pointofview.net/team and 800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. Point of View will continue after this.
are listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kerby Anderson.
Coming to the end of Truth Team Week, and if you've been waiting till the end, well, this is the end. But in particular, we have an urgency because we have a $5,000 match on the table. And, of course, we have in studio with us, as we always do on our weekend edition, Penna, Dexter, Kelly, Shackelford, but also Brad is with us. Give us an update.
Well, here it is. We started with $5,000 needed to be matched dollar for dollar by the top of the hour. We are at $4,137 yet remaining. So the vast portion of that $5,000 is not yet in the door. The reason it's so important is because if we can get this $5,000 matched before the top of the hour, and we're already less than that now, then another $5,000 will be put into the match pool, but not until the first $5,000 is done. So here's the phone number, 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151, or you can give online, pointofview.net. And those monthly gifts, we count the entire 12 months. When you give monthly, that $1 a day actually is $360. It becomes $720.
Very good. Let's, if we can, go around the round table for just a minute and maybe talk about why to give. And then I also want to hear from one of our listeners who has said something. But Penna, Dexter, what would you say? Why should somebody consider giving to Point of View?
Well, we talked about the urgency, and the urgency sort of falls in two categories. One, just the match that we have, because you're not only doubled in your gift if you can get it in before the end of this hour, but then you're unleashing another match. And so that's part of the urgency. But when I think about, why in the country and in the culture that things are so urgent, well, first of all, we've got like the end of our deadline to pass certain things. I mean, they've got to do something about repealing Obamacare, and it's really got to be done by the end of this month. And so, we got to be there to inform people, to get the pressure on Congress. If socialized medicine and single-payer health care starts as the march that it already has begun to start, I mean, this country is not well educated on the dangers of socialized medicine. That's why, Point of View, at this crucial moment where we're debating health care, I think we are more crucial than ever that we remain strong. So there's just a couple of reasons why the urgency.
Matter of fact, 3 of the articles we've posted today relate in one way or another to the issue of health care. Again, Kelly Shackelford, we've been talking to you about religious liberty, but of course you've been a listener since the days you were at law school, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's one of the things that hit me is when you mentioned earlier that for every person who gives, there's 800 listeners. And so I want people to think about if they come one of these monthly supporters, they're going to reach 800 people. Look at my story. I was a guy in law school, going through law school, had no idea that there was any show that actually combined current day issues from a Christian perspective. And I turned on my radio and I heard this thing. And who knows, I mean, the impact, because it was within a couple of years that I was doing what I'm doing now. And the idea that you could actually take law and you could actually work in the culture on the very things that Marla Maddox was talking about. So, your gift, and I think of on our staff, Jeremy Dice, who was sitting in and he's now deputy general counsel of our organization. How many people are out there that are actually doing things now because somebody else made a gift and said, you know what, I'm going to allow this. Not only am I consuming this and enjoying this and sharing this with my friends and learning and all this, but I'm going to reach 800 other people, and they're maybe going to reach millions of people by their lives. So I encourage people to think of, and I encourage the other 799, you're valuing this. You pitch a little money in, support the effort, be a part of it, but you're also going to spread your message to a lot of other people that are going to get to hear it.
Brad?
1-800-347-5151. Let's get every line going right now. 1-800-347-5151. 5151.
Let's hear from one of our listeners that felt it was important to really challenge you to support this ministry. Jacob.
I want to thank you and your ministry for all that you do throughout the earth. It is effectual. And I want you to understand that, because I know you work hard, and I don't think it's any more that you could really do in order to further the gospel. And I want to plead to the listening audience. There should never be a time where your program is lacking of funds. And we as Christians, we should learn to support ministries like yours that is reaching out and shining light into darkness. And I want to ask everybody who are listening, if you only send $10 a month, send it, because this is why Satan has such a great grip on America and the world, is because the world support their own. They will spend billions of dollars to make sure that they are heard. The Lord is working a great work through Point of View.
Point of View. Truth Team 360.
Penna, Dexter, we had Gary Bauer on yesterday, and he was talking about how the world supports its own. He says, while you're listening right now, there are people writing checks to groups that actually hold to values completely antithetical to the ones you're hearing about, ones that are actually against pro-life, pro-family, religious liberty kinds of issues. They're writing checks to the ACLU. They're writing checks to the Freedom from Religion Foundation. They're writing checks to Planned Parenthood. So the question is, are God's people going to step up and actually support this ministry and other ministries like it?
I love the word Jacob used, effectual. And, they could also be writing checks to good organizations that we would support and agree with, but perhaps they're not quite as effective or effectual. And when you think of Point of View and you think of the power of radio, when I started working at Point of View, part of my reasoning in doing it was I was speaking about issues in living rooms or in churches. But I got to come onto the radio and speak about those issues to hundreds, thousands, and millions of people and make those points. And that's what radio is. It affects people across the country. So your dollar that you spend is effectual. And when you have people that are actually willing to match that and willing to promise another match in the next hour, this is the time for you to give.
Brad, you referred to this as a megaphone, right? Didn't you?
That's right. We have an incredible megaphone where I so admire all the other parachurch organizations that will come on as a guest, individuals that will come on, people involved in the church, in nationwide politics. And we turn the microphone over to allow people to tell their story. And that's one of the things I love about Point of View is we share the microphone. Freely do that, because our aim is not about us. This is not about us. It's about the Lord Jesus Christ being lifted up and glorified in all that we do, and having a biblical, inerrant Word of God viewpoint. And that is what you'll find right here at Point of View. Hey, I got to give a match update. $2,847 remaining, and we got her done. Come on, guys. It's get her done time right now. 800-347-5151. 1-800-347-5151.
When you talk about Truth Team 360, truth is so important. It's so rare today.
Yes.
We live in an era of fake news. So, getting your news from a Christian worldview is what we've been about. But now, I think you could add to that getting truth, getting your news that's actually true, and you can count on it. You can count on Point of View. So that's just another reason that we need a lot of participants and people to help support us.
We were talking just a little bit about providing a platform. Yesterday, Gary Bauer gave us 2 hours on the radio, and we were saying, he's not sitting around looking for anything to do. Kelly Shackelford comes in here almost every Friday. It's not like he's looking for things to do. Believe me, I know enough about
that drift.
And he could be on Fox News and other things. He can make one phone call and be on all sorts of programs, but he has dedicated a lot of his time and energy to be on this program. Kelly, why?
Well, I was just thinking, and I think anybody who's listening, who ever listens to Point of View on a regular basis, knows that there are things that if it wasn't for Point of View, they wouldn't have heard much of what they know. They're just not being told. And I'm not even saying there's some conspiracy, but I'm saying they're not important to other people. The secular media doesn't care about these things.
That's right.
But to the person who understands the kingdom of God and what's going on in the country, how their Bible actually intersects with their life, and that it's to be applied in every area of their life, there's invaluable information that is coming every day on Point of View that is equipping the people who listen. And so I just, I think it's something that everybody should support. It's all over the country, and people are really changing their whole neighborhoods because of that. So I would just challenge everybody to participate, especially now that we're down to, 14 minutes to meet this match or whatever?
We got 14 minutes to get $2,847 in the door, so please don't wait any longer, because once that first $5,000 challenge is met, we get another one, but we don't get it unless it's met. 800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151, or online
at pointofview.net. Take the time to give us a call or visit the website. We'll give you a total right after this.
Everything is doubled right now.
U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos announced she'll roll back an Obama-era guidance document that weakened due process rights of those accused of sexual assault on college campuses. Under this guidance, schools, not law enforcement authorities, are tasked with determining an accused student's guilt and punishment. Colleges and universities refusing to set up tribunals for this purpose have been threatened with loss of federal funding. Under this system, accused students who are innocent often face biased, unfair decisions with life-destroying consequences because they have been prevented from doing things like reviewing the evidence against them or securing an attorney. Sexual assault is awful, and colleges should take measures to prevent it. Every possible protection should be afforded female students. This does not include declaring a campus rape crisis or telling women starting college that they're entering some sort of crime zone. Writer and lawyer Jennifer Braceras has some common sense advice for young women. In a column entitled Straight Talk for College Women, Ms. Braceras includes some pointers for navigating the college hookup culture that young women won't receive at freshman orientation. First, she writes, do not get drunk and go home with someone you do not know. Stay sober, and you'll avoid dangerous and compromising situations. Secondly, there's safety in numbers. Don't leave your friends to go off with a guy. Third, the hookup culture says young people will have casual sex, but you shouldn't, even if you have no moral or religious compunctions about it. It's just not smart. Next, go on dates. Ms. Braceras says it's okay to meet a guy at a social activity, but don't always be so available. Instead, hold out for a real date. You deserve it. And then, when you are dating someone, don't leave a lot of ambiguity about your boundaries. Wise advice, and let me add some for the Christian college girl. Your moral boundaries will be challenged. Find friends, guys and girls, who will help you uphold them. For Point of View, I'm Penna Dexter.
Point of View, Truth Team 360, celebrating 45 years.
My name is Nancy, and I have listened to Point of View for decades. We celebrate with you, Kerby, and the rest of the Point of View crew in achieving 45 years of continuous broadcasting. I find Point of View to be a very interesting and informative program to listen to. There is no doubt that there is a high cost of producing and airing Point of View, and there is no doubt that we who receive a benefit from Point of View need to support them financially. We love you, Kerby, and the rest of the crew. Congratulations on 45 years.
Point of View, Truth Team 360.
Some comments from Nancy, and again, we encourage you to participate. We're coming to the end of our first hour here, and we have that $5,000 match, and we're down to still need about $338 left. So we're getting there.
Okay, we're getting there.
Almost.
But don't give up yet, because
Yes.
a lot of people just lay back and say, oh, I'm sure they're going to get there. Don't ever do that, please.
No.
Call with your very best gift right now, 1-800-347-5151.
Okay, we've talked about urgency. Penna mentioned it, and I want to come to Kelly about this. You published what is called the booklet, or the book or document, Undeniable, the Survey of Hostility to Religion in America. 1,400 different anecdotes in that. I remember years ago when David Limbaugh wrote his 450-page book called Persecution, How Liberals Are Waging War Against Christianity. He did it back then because people say, oh, these are just a few anecdotes. These are just a few here and there. And even of these 1,400 anecdotes that you have, Kelly, those are just the ones that are recorded or litigated. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. So anybody that says religious liberty is not the big issue right now in the 21st century hasn't been paying attention to point of view.
No, it's a 133% increase in the last 5 years. It's, don't take my word. Go look at it. I mean, we have it online.
We
so
have a
that
link
people,
to it, as we had last week.
That's right. So people can look at it. Every single case is documented. You can see where the case number, the media articles, whatever you need to see. I've been asked this a number of times, and we've talked about this on the air, but let me be clear. We are in the middle of a battle right now in our country for whether we will have religious liberty. Now, some people think, oh, you're going too far. No, I'm not. I've been doing this for 29 years, way over a quarter century, and I'm telling you, in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to decide as a country whether we have religious liberty for our kids and our grandkids or whether we do not have it. And again, if you say, oh, come on, tell me one state you can pass a religious liberty law. You can't do it right now. Everywhere they've tried, just incredible attacks. Michigan just passed a law last year that says if you're a faith-based group, you should be allowed to do adoptions and child placements in accordance with your faith. In other words, if you're a Christian adoption agency, you shouldn't have to place children with, 2 men. And you should be able to say a mom and a dad. Guess what just happened this week? Lawsuit filed against the state of Michigan by the ACLU and these groups saying this cannot be allowed to stand. Goodness. This is the kind of thing that's happening. Not only can you not pass a religious liberty law, if you do something just to say that we're going to allow faith groups to adopt children in accordance with their faith, you're even going to come under attack there. So people need to wake up that we are in the middle of a battle. And, what I've always said is at the end, when the Lord comes back, win or lose, I don't want to be sitting in the stands with a pom-pom. I want to be on the field.
There you go.
And everybody else needs to be on the field. And one way you can do that, really, is to support point of view and get the word out to other people and be that Paul Revere.
When you go to bed tonight, I want to just go back to what you said, Kelly. If you're going to increase your gift or be $100 a month donor, think of the part of this gift that we need. That would be, you could go to bed tonight thinking that you really made a difference in advancing religious liberty, for instance, by doing that. So think about it. And just ask the Lord what he would have you do.
Let's see if we can hear from some of the individuals that have supported this ministry, and they want to encourage you to do the same.
I've been listening for about 26 years. I just wanted to say that y'all have helped me a lot because you've given opportunity to call our congressman and make phone calls, write letters and all, and I appreciate the website that we can get on and sign petitions and things like that, and I feel like it makes a big difference. I signed up yesterday to be a supporter, and I think it's well worth it.
I began listening to Point of View when I was 19 years old. I just can't even begin to tell you how much that this ministry has meant to me, especially now being a father. The values and things that I hear on Point of View and how you shaped my worldview and made me passionate.
Political things that are being done to our nation, you just cannot bury your head in the sand and say it doesn't exist and I hope it goes away.
Point of View is actually a lifeline for me. I homeschool my girls, and I don't think I could do what I do without Point of View on a daily basis.
If I hadn't listened to Point of View, I mean, I just had no clue how important your show was.
I'd just like to encourage your listeners that even small givers are important. Consistency is the key.
Point of View, Truth Team 360.
If you'd like to join us, 1-800-347-5151. And, you know, we were just talking with Kelly a minute ago about people in the past, and I think about there are people that have called in. I think we'll play that in the next hour, have said, I didn't really know how to vote. Or individuals saying, I've ran for school board, or some that have actually started a school. One individual said, you know, you sent out this email about the kinds of books that are in the school library, and I didn't believe it. And then I looked at him, I said, it was worse than you said, Kerby. And, of course, these issues of religious liberty, and one we just mentioned a minute ago, Penna, Dexter, homeschooling. I think we've been a real encouragement to those who have said, I'm going to consider Christian schools or homeschools, right?
Well, yes. I mean, even in the early days of homeschooling, we started having people on the program to talk about the need for it or the opportunity for people. And now, and then over the years, the freedom to homeschool has had to be defended also. And so those are areas where Point of View has had a big impact in not only informing people, but encouraging the groups who encourage homeschooling or who provide materials or whatever. We've been able to be a platform for all those groups. And, you know, we need to stay strong to continue to be able to be that.
You remember a time when you were homeschooling, you had to close the drapes because you weren't sure what was going to happen. Kelly's gotten me wondering if maybe that's going to return someday. But, Brad, how we doing on the match?
Okay, I ran down the hall because everybody's busy. And guess what? Let's clap and celebrate the $5,000 match has been made.
Hey.
That is awesome. Now, we have immediately launched the next $5,000 in match money. Don't stop calling because every gift you give will be doubled up to $5,000. This is going to carry right over into the next hour. But here's the phone number. It's 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. If you get in a busy signal, you can always go to pointofview.net. pointofview.net.
So I guess we can now say that we've made 538 of that, or something like that, about 5,000, was it 338?
We'll get some
of the
numbers.
10,000, yeah. So we're only halfway there now, if you think about it. So that's kind of
There's
interesting.
smoke coming out
The
of the phone room.
momentum has started, but we have to keep it up.
That's
Well,
right.
the great thing I think is that people can. I'm always like, get double gifts for yourself. So you know, you make the gift that's being matched, so you get matched. But if you do the $1 a month, you know, I mean, $1 a day, which is $30 a month, or you do the Anniversary Club, $45 a month, or the Century Club, you not only do that, but then you still get a gift.
That's right.
So I would encourage people, take advantage of sort of, you know, multiplying your gifts in numerous ways where you get the most bang for your buck in your donation and getting Point of View out of there.
Well, again, we are going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to have a chance to hear a little bit of the humor of Marlon Maddox. I want to hear Penna Dexter's reaction to some of that as well. We have some more issues on the table. We haven't even gotten to the second article about constitutional illiteracy, and one of the reasons why we're facing some of the problems we are. But as we go to this break, recognize now that we're just halfway there, 5,000 of the 10,000. So your gift is very important. 800-347-5151, 800-347-5151, or of course you can go to the website pointofview.net. We'll be right back.
Every day there are challenges to living as a faithful Christian, but each of those challenges is also an opportunity to influence the culture for Christ. Don't be caught without a response when your coworker says she's moving in with her boyfriend, or when your neighbor wonders what's wrong with supporting transgender rights. Your investment in Point of View Radio equips nearly 1.5 million people to speak the truth in love. We are thankful for those who have given this week, and though the week is over, our work is not. Your investment can change a life, and for a few more hours, that investment will be doubled up to $10,000. Visit pointofview.net/team or call 1-800-347-5151. Choose your level of giving. The greater the investment, the greater the impact. And thanks to a ministry friend, whatever you choose will be doubled. And that includes your monthly gift for an entire year. Today is the final day. Pointofview.net/team and 800-347-5151. 800-347-5151.
Point of View will continue after this.
I just thank God for y'all. I listen to you every day, truly. I wanted to thank y'all for everything you do each day to inform Christian families and our community about the things we can do, and just the way you're so informative. I listen to you daily and love you guys and appreciate you so much.
God bless you, Kerby, for keeping this show so on track and for the decades of wonderful help to this nation that Point of View has been. We're all big fans of your work, and we pray that God will just prosper it.
As a Christian, over the years that I've followed this program, I am constantly challenged to be on guard and to evaluate what's going on. And if for no other reason, to protect the caliber and the truth of your programming, I need to participate and to back your program financially to ensure that the truth stays out there for people to hear, to view, and to be a part of.
This is Point of View Radio.
Hi, this is Kerby Anderson. You know, each day we take on the tough issues and provide a biblical perspective to them. The topics we cover are wide-ranging: apologetics, theology, prophecy, creation and evolution, intelligent design, marriage, family, child-rearing, the millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View continues right now.
Across America, live. This is Point of View. And now, Kerby Anderson.
Second hour today, and it is the final hour. Hard to believe this.
Yes, it is.
Truth Team. And, of course, around the round table, we have Penna, Dexter, Kelly Shackelford, as we always do on our weekend edition, and Brad Fisk. And for those of you that might just be joining us, we've had a lot of excitement in this first hour, and I'm not sure how to summarize it, but Brad, I'll let you try.
We'll give it a shot. We had a $5,000 match challenge last hour, and this friend of the ministry said if you can get the first $5,000 cared for in hour number 1 today, we'll put another $5,000 on the table for hour number 2. It happened. Right toward the end of the hour, we made the goal of $5,000. So we need to honor all of those listeners,
yes,
the past hour
Don't
that got us
down
to this point,
yes,
with your gift of support at 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. I'm going to give you the very best reason to give to Point of View. We are listener supported. We depend on you. You're the hero, not us. This isn't about us. It's about you and your gifts that keep us going, have done so for 45 years. And I don't want to be presumptuous, but hopefully for another 45 years until the Lord comes back. But we've got some incredible gifts. We can talk about these now or a little bit later, whatever you want to do.
Sure.
Kerby.
I just want to let people know that in just a minute we're going to talk about the second article we've posted here by Cal Thomas, a constitutional ignorance, and want to get into that as well. But Penna, Dexter, you've been watching this over the last few minutes, and of course you've been around for, I hate to say, all 2 decades. Is that fair?
Yes,
that's fair to say. Okay,
she was only 11 years old.
Yes,
Proud
of it. Yes, okay. You got to be careful when you talk about age here, but you've seen what's going on here, and this is pretty exciting, isn't it?
Well, it is. You know, we've never had this type of sort of an unleashing of a second matching grant, and we have that. I love it. I love it. And you know, Brad made the point. The first hour matched. They wanted to help Point of View, but also they wanted to unleash this $5,000 for this hour. And so let's not disappoint them.
Yes.
We need to make that match this time. Now, let me just, give you a couple of reasons why Point of View is still probably more important than ever. The country is sort of on the verge of moving to the left or retaining our sort of constitutional base. And you've posted an article that we're going to talk about called Ignorant Nation by Cal Thomas. We do not want our nation to remain an ignorant nation. But there are signs that people are forgetting our roots. You've got monuments being torn down, erasing our history all over the nation. And believe me, folks, that's the underlying reason, is to erase our Constitution and our history. Mm-hmm. And so we are at a sort of a pivotal point in America, and Point of View can be a part of the solution. And that's why, we're asking for your help. We want to be stronger than ever in order to move forward in these days.
Well, again, one of the things I might just mention is I know you don't give to get, but in case you are just joining us and do not realize the fact that we provide opportunities, you've heard us many times if you listen to this program that for $1 a day, $30 a month, $360 a year, because we have the match, that $360 becomes $720. But one of the advantages is we will send you the Bible stick, which is a pocket size. It's about the size of a stick of gum. Mm-hmm. MP3 player, has the entire New Testament ESV. It's something that is so available, and again is something that is not sold in the stores. This is 45 years. Marlon Maddox started the show in 1972, 45 years ago. So we have an anniversary club at $45 a month that includes the Bible stick as well as these booklets, which we are now making available. The one this month is on Sharia law. Next month, who knows what it'll be, probably transgender issues, immigration, certainly religious liberty after all the conversation we've had with Kelly. And then at the Century Club level, $100 a month, you receive all of those plus the Amazon Echo Dot, which we wanted to give to you because we are becoming a high-tech ministry, and nothing better than just simply saying to Alexa, play Point of View Radio Talk Show, and on comes Penna, Dexter, and Kelly Shackelford. You could be listening to it this weekend at your convenience. So those are some resources.
1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151, or pointofview.net. Every dollar you give right now is doubled up to $5,000. If you give a monthly gift, we count the entire year. So it's especially strategic to give that monthly gift during a match.
I thought we would go to one of our listeners who just called in. This is live right now. So, Drew, I believe that you've actually given to Point of View. And what would you say to the rest of our listeners out there?
Hi, Kerby. It's a pleasure to talk to you and Penna, Kelly, and Brad. I just wanted to call in. Finally, after about 6 months of listening, I found it on KYCC and just have been hooked ever since, and express my gratitude for the awesome work that you guys have done. I've been listening for about 6 months now, and it's just been something I can hardly miss. Thank you for giving me my daily dose of truth with a biblical worldview. I'd just like to encourage anyone listening that's inspired by Point of View to give what they can. I'm a California millennial and Christian, and I now can say I support Point of View.
That is so good.
Thank you very
Drew,
much.
I might just mention, as a matter of fact, that I will be out there in a little over a month in California, and I'll be with our friends at KYCC, so I'd love to come out and shake your hand if that is a possibility. So there is an individual that just called in a minute ago.
That's right.
We transferred them from the call room to the radio room here, and Drew wanted to encourage others. And of course, we have a Millennial Roundtable, which we have, and that was a conversation starter as well. Go ahead.
Perfect example. Again, we are passionate about reaching the world with the biblical worldview, especially the Christian world, especially churches. You know, churches are going off in this direction and that, and they're saying, well, it's not, everybody needs to be equal and relevant, and Jesus really didn't say any of that stuff. That's not true. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father but by me. And Point of View stands on the biblical truth that is bigger than anything.
You want to hear another one of these callers?
I love it.
Let's head to Florida. Ronald, I think you actually pledged yesterday, but you, if I understand, you called back to increase your pledge. Tell us more.
Yes, I did. I would like to speak to the young lady that you have there.
Hi.
Penna, Dexter.
Hey, Ronald.
Yes, young lady, you are an angel from heaven sent to earth to help us. And the reason why I called is because you went ahead and said a few minutes ago that when you sleep tonight, you know, you went ahead and said something on this similar, you know, like
Sure.
when
Look back at your day and see what you did.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Wasn't that an encouragement?
That was great. You really hit my heart. You really did. And Kerby, you are a real man of God. I mean, a real man of God.
Thank you. So we're coming to a break, so I've got to unfortunately
Thank you for calling.
That was wonderful.
The clock waits for no one, as we well know. I want to give Brad enough time just to mention again that before we go to this break, we still have a match on the table,
We do.
don't we?
The majority of that $5,000 is not yet met. The phones have slowed down a little bit. Come on, you guys. This is the final day of Truth Team Week. 1-800-347-5151. Could we have 5 people at $1 a day in this next break? Could we have 3 people on our anniversary club at $45 a month? And how about 2 of you at the Century Club level, $100 a month? And we're coming to a break, so you're not going to miss anything. 1-800-347-5151. 1-800-347-5151, or online
at pointofview.net. You got your marching orders. When we come back, we'll talk with Kelly Shackelford about constitutional illiteracy.
Let's go.
We'll be
Every
right back.
dollar doubled right now. Let's do it. Come on.
This is Viewpoints with Kerby Anderson.
You know, overall, it has been a disappointing summer for Hollywood, but one movie recently provided a significant bump in box office sales. The movie It is an adaptation of Stephen King's 1986 novel and broke many box office records for September. Why is a scary movie doing so well in theaters? There are many theories. First, that there has been a build-up to the movie after the first trailer was released in March. It set a record of 197 million global views. Of course, you could point to other movie trailers that did well but didn't perform when it came time to put people in the seats. Movies like Transformers, King Arthur, and The Mummy, with well-known titles and huge budgets, flopped this summer. Second, there's the physiological response. Scary movies increase the heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration. Professor Glenn Sparks explains that frightening films leave a physiological arousal known as the excitation transfer process. The rush of excitement keeps them coming back for more. Third, Joanna Robinson, writing in Vanity Fair, reminds us that people tired of being shushed or tired of shushing don't have that problem in horror movies. People are expected to scream, shriek, and even talk back to the screen. It is a communal experience of shared terror. Last month, I quoted from Pastor Rick Stedman, who argues that superhero movies and horror movies are quite popular because our materialistic society has repressed belief in the supernatural. Quoting from the book Monsters from the Id by Michael Jones, Rick Stedman uses the psychological terms of sublimation and displacement to explain our fascination with these movies. As a society, we may deny the supernatural, but God has placed eternity in our hearts, so we look for the supernatural element in other areas, like fantasy films and horror movies. I'm Kerby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
Take Kerby and the Point of View team with you on the go with the Point of View app. Search for Point of View Radio at the Apple or Google Play stores. Point of View, Truth Team 360, celebrating 45 years.
Hello, this is Jack Graham, pastor of Prestonwood Baptist Church and speaker of PowerPoint Ministries, and the pastor to Kerby Anderson and Suzanne. What a privilege it is for me to be their pastor, because Kerby, through Point of View Radio, is celebrating 45 years of broadcasting, an incredible witness to the Word of God and the testimony of Jesus. I would encourage all of the listeners of Point of View to support this program with your prayers and financially. I know it would be greatly appreciated. We need to keep the message of Point of View through Kerby Anderson going and going strong. God bless you. Thank you for your participation and for your encouragement to Kerby Anderson and Point of View Radio.
Point of View, Truth Team 360.
Pastor Jack Graham's been in studio with us before, and also is one of those pastors that is providing spiritual advice and comfort and encouragement to our current president. And Brad, how are we doing on the match?
Okay.
I see a number of people now waiting for the phones to ring.
That's right.
Again.
It slowed down a little bit just recently, but we have 1,220 to go, guys. That's it.
Wow.
And the second $5,000 will be matched. So
Wow.
that's we're making progress. But what happens a lot of times in the middle of all this, someone else will do it. Somebody else will take care of that. We can't let that happen. Here's the phone number, 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. And this listener out of California, or out of Arizona, says, I enjoy the refreshing biblical worldview. I like that, refreshing. We're refreshing people. That's scriptural, actually. So the phone number, 1-800-347-5151 or pointofview.net, pointofview.net. pointofview.net you can give online.
And again, that website is pointofview.net. And again, we hope you'll click on that button that says Be the One out of 800. Penna, Dexter, Kelly, Shackelford in here as well. Penna, you've read this piece by Cal Thomas. And this one, I would think, makes Kelly just a little bit crazy, because you look at these numbers that have come, was it, from the University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg Public Policy Center, shows a lot of Americans don't know too much about the Constitution.
Yeah, it's called Ignorant Nation, and I would recommend that everybody go to pointofview.net and just read that, because it talks about really the ignorance of the Constitution. A poll showed, and this came out of University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg Public Policy Center, 37% of those interviewed could not name any of the 5 rights protected by the First Amendment. 48% got freedom of speech right. 33% could not name, oh, this is terrible. 33% could not name one of the 3 branches of government, and only 26% correctly named all 3. We stopped teaching physics decades ago, and we're kind of like Point of View is a bit of a physics class to America. Civics.
Yeah,
sorry, civics. Sure. And so we stopped teaching it, and so we have to kind of keep up. We have to take up the slack here on Point of View.
How can we have our rights, Kelly, if we lose our rights? If we don't even know what our rights are?
Well, this is the problem. You almost wish you could have a citizen test, to remain citizen.
Yes, these people vote. Some of these people don't know this
I'm
vote.
sorry, you can't vote if you don't know that there are any of the rights in the First Amendment. I mean, I mean, it's hard for me to even understand. I mean, did the brain slip out the ears and there's just nothing in there? Everybody knows free speech.
Yes.
I think most people know religious freedom. I mean, I think a lot of people know freedom of the press. I mean, they might struggle when they get to freedom of assembly or the right to petition government for redress of grievances, but you don't even know that free speech is in the First Amendment.
Some of these college campuses apparently don't.
And I'll tell you, it really is scary, because there's stuff like this that happens. Last night I was watching TV. I flipped on the TV, and it was a debate about, and this was because Hillary Clinton said, "Oh yeah, I think we should get rid of the Electoral College," and then I was just sitting there watching the debate, going, you people don't even understand what the Electoral College is. And I mean, well, and most people, I understand most people probably don't that, but I mean, that's been in place since the founding of the country. If you didn't have the Electoral College, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Electoral College is how we elect our president, for instance, and it's not a popular vote, right? It's not just, let's take all the votes in the country and let's decide. What they do is every state gets some extra votes, because just like we have a House that's made up by population, our Senate, everybody gets 2 senators, no matter if you're a little state or a big state. Federalism, right? Something we believe in. This gives respect to all the states, even the ones that don't have huge populations. If you didn't have the Electoral College, basically, they would campaign in New York City and Los Angeles and a couple other places and never visit the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. The founders knew that. They knew that back then. They said, no, that would be a really dumb idea. That would be pure democracy, which they called what? Mobocracy.
That's right.
They said it's a horrible idea. And yet people today are talking about it like it's brilliant. It's a new idea they've come up with, and they don't even understand what the founders did. And so it really disturbs me when we're battling over stuff like that, which you actually have to have a little bit of understanding. And they're, 37% don't even know what any of the rights are in the First Amendment?
It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
I mean, we could lose everything if that's the level of understanding that the people of our country have.
Something else in this piece by Cal Thomas that we posted at pointofview.net, it was near the end, and it talks about how student loan debt is at an all-time high of $1.33 trillion. And, this affects the lives of a lot of the young people, ages 18 to 34. They did a poll of these millennials. They found that 50% of them would give up their right to vote in the next 2 presidential cycles in order never to make another loan payment. And, the importance of the right to vote, comes at that price for them. I think that statistic is very, very disturbing. And, it's kind of a part of this loss of the understanding of our history and our roots.
And I think I saw with a poll I saw, it was somewhere close to 50%, and this is a younger group that was being polled, felt like hate speech shouldn't be protected.
That's right.
And, of course, if they don't know it's in the First Amendment, maybe that makes a little more sense.
Something to do with it.
Now we can figure it out. Yeah.
But the whole point of the First Amendment is to protect speech which people don't like, which people would say might be hateful or whatever.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, so it shows how completely dangerous we are and where we're going. And this brings me back to Point of View.
Thank you.
Point of View has done something that really I haven't seen anybody else do, and that is there's a millennial show every week. There are younger people on that are talking about these issues. I hope that gives people hope. That's one of the challenges we have in our organization, too, is we want to hire not just people of a certain age. I mean, we want a mixture because we want to know how to speak to each segment in a way that understands religious freedom because, I mean, we're going to all die off and what's going to happen to our kids and our grandkids? What are they going to have any freedoms? Are there going to be people who can speak to these things? And Point of View is doing a great job of bringing those folks on.
When you have conservative millennials, it not only gives us hope for the future, these kids that we have on Point of View, these young adults who speak, they can speak in ways that another generation can't. Each generation can speak to its own generation in terms they can understand. And so we have made a concerted effort here at Point of View to bring on the best, very, very astute young people to be able to speak to their generation. And as Kelly said, that's unique.
I was wondering if we were to do a survey of listeners of Point of View, if they would do a little better on listing at least a few of the rights of the First Amendment or the various branches of government. And I would think we all know what the answer to that is, yes. Sure, and so, again, don't take for granted the things that you hear every day. There are times I'm sure you share with your friends, neighbors, and coworkers something Kelly says, something Penna says, something I say, and they go, "What? Are you sure about that?" And we say, well, just go to the website and find that. But again, let's talk about, just before we come to the bottom of the hour here and an opportunity for people to call once again, what is still left on the table?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a phone number to call. It's 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. You can also give at pointofview.net. You guys, I think there's 3 people that could join the Century Club during this next break.
That would be good.
At $100 a month. There are people that can do that. Listen, we know there's capacity to give. I believe there's another 3 people that could join at $45 a month and be part of the Truth Team. And then I believe there's actually 10 of you that could step in at $1 a day. Come on, guys. It's $30 a month, $360 for the year. We've got all the free gifts you can look at online. We got them all described there at pointofview.net. Give us a call.
And if you don't want your Echo Dot, give it to me, because I want it. Do that Century Club and give me your Echo Dot.
That's right.
That sounds right again. 800-347-5151. We have somebody on the phone, but others waiting for your phone call. 1-800-347-5151.
Come on. Every dollar doubled.
Every day there are challenges to living as a faithful Christian, but each of those challenges is also an opportunity to influence the culture for Christ. Don't be caught without a response when your coworker says she's moving in with her boyfriend, or when your neighbor wonders what's wrong with supporting transgender rights. Your investment in Point of View Radio equips nearly 1.5 million people to speak the truth in love. We are thankful for those who have given this week, and though the week is over, our work is not. Your investment can change a life, and for a few more hours, that investment will be doubled up to $10,000. Visit pointofview.net/team or call 1-800-347-5151. Choose your level of giving. The greater the investment, the greater the impact. And thanks to a ministry friend, whatever you choose will be doubled, and that includes your monthly gift for an entire year. Today is the final day. Pointofview.net/team and 800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. Point of View will continue after this.
are listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kerby Anderson.
Final half hour, and if you would like to pledge, let me encourage you to do so. If you've been waiting to the last few hours or minutes, that's where we are. 800-347-5151. And, of course, it is the last half hour of Truth Team this week, as well as, of course, our weekend edition. Penna, Dexter, Kelly, Shackelford, and Brad, how we doing on the match?
Well, during the break, I found out we are up and over the other $5,000. So that's a total of $10,000 going into the total for today. Thank you for that. Now, because you haven't given yet, you don't think, oh, the match is made, I don't need to call. That's wrong.
That's all the more reason to join
thinking.
with us as a celebration.
Let me speak to the parents and grandparents just for a minute. You know who you are. What I challenge you to do is, if they physically can't do this, look into the faces of those grandchildren. Look into the faces of your kids and ask the question, what kind of a world are they going to have when we've exited, when we have passed on to the Lord? What is going to be their lives? How is that going to be defined? I think we're talking about that stuff every single day here in Point of View. So if we need you for anything else, it's for the kids. It's for the next generation. The battle is on. They're trying to get our kids. They are in every way they can. You can stand against that with us at 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. Come on, you guys. Go to the phones and make a difference for eternity. Change a life for eternity. You can also do it at pointofview.net, pointofview.net.
Well, again, let's, if we can, hear from you, but let's go around the roundtable real quickly. Penna, any comments that you wanted to make before we hear a little bit about Marlon Maddox? And I want to hear your response to some of the humor of Marlon Maddox from 45 years.
Well, I was here 20 years ago when Marlon Maddox was alive, and I don't think he would have ever thought of me being a grandparent, but I am one now. And, you know, you mentioned, Brad, to look into the face of your children and grandchildren, and we live in an era right now where, those of us who are Christians, we are at risk of seeing the worldview that has sort of been it's kind of permeated the culture until now. And now, and I just hate the fact that we had the sexual revolution, but we did have it. And the sexual revolution and all that has come from that, including codifying, the right to marry the same gender and all of that, that is sort of a battle between those two. And it's not going to be that they can coexist. Some people said that would be the case. It's not. Those who want to advance all of those principles, they want to destroy marriage. They want to destroy the religious liberty of those who believe in biblical values. Really, the only way to fight that now is through the courts, through the law, and sometimes through our laws, but most of the time those laws are challenged in court. So that's why Kelly's organization, First Liberty Institute, is so important. We have to make those points clear, because now in our schools, there is nothing left of the Christian worldview that is taught in public schools and universities. And so it makes teaching vehicles like Point of View all that much more important. So those of you that have helped us, thank you. You have done a great thing. If you haven't, and you just can help a little bit, we'd love it. If you can supersize your gift that you're already giving, do it today. It's so important now more than ever, I would say.
Kelly, we've talked about some of the challenges we're facing here, and if nothing else, you just remind us that we need to be vigilant, and we need to support organizations like Point of View, as well as, of course, your own organization of First Liberty.
Yeah, and I want to follow up with what Brad said about your children and your grandchildren. And let me give you, I know you've talked about this, I think. We haven't talked about this today. It's not on our list, but I was just in a meeting in D.C. where this was talked about a lot. So not all of this is out in public yet, but I want Christians to understand what is happening. People are being put on lists, hate lists is what they call them, because they have traditional biblical views, like that marriage is a man and a woman. They're being listed alongside like white supremacist groups, okay, in these big lists. And that's horrible. It's ridiculous. It's a disgrace to true hate groups like the white supremacist group, the KKK, the et cetera. The idea you're really belittling, the danger and the evil that those groups are when you put Family Research Council or whoever next to them. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But what is happening now is I think, chilling. Now what's happening is they're going to insurance companies that are they're saying, we're not going to work with these groups. We're not going to allow them insurance. We're not going to allow credit card processing from I'm talking about huge credit card companies
My goodness.
that I could begin to list. We're not going to allow them to get banking. This is just the beginning, okay? So when we're talking about the future for your children and your grandchildren, we're talking about, if they hold to their beliefs, I mean, literally trying to take everything away from them in this country. These battles that are coming are huge, and they're not just coming, they've started. Because the reason I'm hearing this is I'm getting calls from the victims.
Right.
These groups that are saying, you won't believe, can they do this? Surely this isn't legal. That because of my religious beliefs, they're going to shut down my business and dry up my funding. They're going to, we go on and on. So when Brad says that, I want people to understand what we're talking about. So now, where else have you heard this? I know you've heard some of this on Point of View. You probably haven't heard it anywhere else. Is this important to the future of the country? So if you're not investing in this and you care about your kids and your grandkids, you need to pick up the phone and call 800-347-5151. I mean, you need to invest in this because there are some battles that are coming, and we have got to be involved. We've got to be informed. We have got to make sure that our kids and our grandkids don't lose the country, the freedom, the religious heritage that makes this country what it is.
You mentioned that. I've done some of that on some of my commentaries where an individual all of a sudden went to a bank and said, we can't loan you something. I said, what do you mean? Well, because the ATF, in this case, had a problem with him. Or this group that we talked about the other day where just the Ruth Center, which is a Catholic group, and they're supposedly a hate group, and when they cited what they didn't like about them, it was from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and they came back and said, wait a minute, technically, every Catholic would be a hate group according to your definition, and you're not allowing us to process donations anymore.
It's crazy.
So, again, where did you hear that first? On Point of View. Penna Dexter's commentaries, my commentaries.
Yeah, if you can't participate in the culture financially through credit card processing, through PayPal, through banking, through insurance, and all of that, then you're marginalized. And that's the idea. That's what the left is trying to do. So you look at the faces of your little grandchild or your child, and you say, you're going to live in this world where you're going to be pushed into the corner of the culture and not be able to participate in it. That is a big deal. It's worth our investment to protect them and their future. When Marlon started the show 45 years ago, I don't think he had any idea we'd get here. He just knew that there were always going to be opposition to Christians. So he was prescient, and the Lord used that. But we're here. We're really at a precipice.
We played something yesterday in which Marlon was interacting with Chuck Colson, and you could have thought that they were just recorded it yesterday. It was that close, and it was actually, what was it, 9 years ago?
Yeah,
we figured
at least
it.
that, yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Like
one of them was 15 years ago that we played, and it was 15 years ago, but he was predicting that there could be this kind of challenge. Let me real quickly, we're coming to a break here, but I wanted to hear live from one of our callers that actually have pledged, Bonnie in Nevada. Bonnie, thank you for joining us today.
Hi.
What would you say to our listeners?
I would say I have listened to your station or to your program for probably just over a year now. Been wanting to give, but was injured in an auto accident almost 5 years ago and have been battling for my life since. I am a single mom, so there is no income for us, but I still felt today the Lord's like, you know what? You haven't actually stepped out in faith until you actually step out. And I have been having issues trusting him for my recovery. So I decided today to step out, and he said, do it. And I'm doing it.
So you're one of the Truth Team members, right?
I am a Truth Team member now. Yes,
Wow.
praise the Lord.
Wow.
Can I get a Bible stick and everything?
Oh,
welcome.
Very good. We're just
widow's
about
mite.
coming to a break, but again, those are the kind of sacrificial gifts. I know my wife yesterday was talking to some people that said, I really don't know how I can come up with these funds, but I so believe in you, I'm going to make some kind of sacrifice to do so. That's why we take very seriously these gifts.
1-800-347-5151. Don't stop now, guys. 1-800-347-5151. Let's finish strong this afternoon. Pointofview.net. You can go there as well. Pointofview.net.
We say be the one, rebuilding truth in a post-truth culture. And again, 1-800-347-5151. Make that call. We'll be back right after this.
Let's light them up. Light the phones up, you guys. Let's go.
U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos announced she'll roll back an Obama-era guidance document that weakened due process rights of those accused of sexual assault on college campuses. Under this guidance, schools, not law enforcement authorities, are tasked with determining an accused student's guilt and punishment. Colleges and universities refusing to set up tribunals for this purpose have been threatened with loss of federal funding. Under this system, accused students who are innocent often face biased, unfair decisions with life-destroying consequences because they have been prevented from doing things like reviewing the evidence against them or securing an attorney. Sexual assault is awful, and colleges should take measures to prevent it. Every possible protection should be afforded female students. This does not include declaring a campus rape crisis or telling women starting college that they are entering some sort of crime zone. Writer and lawyer Jennifer Braceras has some common sense advice for young women. In a column entitled Straight Talk for College Women, Ms. Braceras includes some pointers for navigating the college hookup culture that young women won't receive at freshman orientation. First, she writes, do not get drunk and go home with someone you do not know. Stay sober, and you'll avoid dangerous and compromising situations. Secondly, there's safety in numbers. Don't leave your friends to go off with a guy. Third, the hookup culture says young people will have casual sex, but you shouldn't, even if you have no moral or religious compunctions about it. It's just not smart. Next, go on dates. Ms. Braceras says it's okay to meet a guy at a social activity, but don't always be so available. Instead, hold out for a real date. You deserve it. And then, when you are dating someone, don't leave a lot of ambiguity about your boundaries. Wise advice, and let me add some for the Christian college girl. Your moral boundaries will be challenged. Find friends, guys and girls, who will help you uphold them. For Point of View, I'm Penna Dexter.
Point of View, Truth Team 360, celebrating 45 years.
Hey, congratulations, Kerby, to you and everyone there at Point of View who contributed to so many years of successful ministry. Point of View is a part of my daily life, and I know of no other radio program that helps its listeners to develop, articulate, and then defend a biblical worldview as successfully as yours does. For those reasons, I consider it an honor to be able to support Point of View financially, and I would encourage all of your listeners, both young and old, to prayerfully consider doing the same. So congratulations again on 45 years of effective ministry. May the Lord bless all of you there at Point of View.
Point of View, Truth Team 360,
45 years, but we're down to the last 8 minutes, I guess
Yes.
you could say, of Truth Team. And again, we will be here next week, of course, as we always will. John Stone Street will be with us, and Paul Baracca. So we have all sorts of great interviews next week, but we just have a few minutes left. And if you have been waiting to the end is
It's here
in sight
right now.
now. So what can we do, Brad?
We can call the number, 1-800-347-5151. Look, guys, don't get left out of the blessing. It is more blessed to give than receive. 1-800-347-5151. Or just write this down and do it later if you need to. Pointofview.net. Pointofview.net. The phones have slowed down. We have 9 people available to take your call right now.
Well, let me, if I can, just have a little bit of a celebration. It's 45 years, and Penna, Dexter, and Kelly Shackelford and I all work with Marlon Maddox, and we just pulled a few clips just to remind us of the humor of Marlon Maddox. Here's just a few.
Here is something from my Just Whose Friend Are You, Peter Arnett file. You probably heard about good old Peter. The type guys like Peter Arnett, the Soviet communists used to call them useful idiots. Now, boys and girls, does it seem to you, now here is the kicker, boys and girls, this just in, hot off the press, Point of View, the only radio program that shows you editorial cartoons on the radio. So look at your radio right now.
All right.
And we're going to show you an editorial cartoon. It's incredible, isn't it? And if you don't think there's any politics involved in that, you've been living on the planet Mongo for a few years. Joining me in this little around the campfire conversation is Penna Dexter. Let's start with ladies today. How are you, Penna? Folks, get an idea that we do have some things to talk about. Hey, everybody, good to have you. Here's something right out of my Finger in the Wind file. Going to sleep one night before I went to sleep and remembered my mother hadn't given me a spanking that day. I didn't think she loved me anymore. Thanks for being with us, and please join us again next time. Till then, so long, everybody.
Remember how he used to say, so long, everybody? I'm starting to cry if I'm not careful here.
The first time I hosted the show in the hot seat where you are right now, Kerby, I couldn't think of what to say at the end of the show, so I said, so long, everybody. That voice is so awesome. And Marlon, you could show a cartoon today. So it's not quite as funny listening today because we have cameras in the studio. I don't think Marlon ever thought that would happen. In fact, he probably wouldn't have let it happen.
But the planet Mongo. Yeah. And then he always had the da-da-da-da-da file, and so some of those, just a few.
And you just missed that voice. Boy, did he have he just had a great radio. There was something about it. It was monotone almost, but it really wasn't. It was just beautiful, and you just couldn't help but want to listen to him. And he always has great content, things you hadn't heard. And what I love is that I think he's really proud of what's been going on since he left.
I got an idea. Let's invite our listeners right now, in honor of Marlon Maddox, to give their very best gift. If you haven't given yet to Point of View, he started this 45 years ago. That's amazing in itself. Nothing's been around for 45 years that I know of, hardly at all, really.
That's right.
And here we are, 1-800-347-5151, 1-800-347-5151. Come, some of you senior citizens, some of you old-timers out there, been listening a long time, and you remember Marlon Maddox. Why don't you give us your very best gift in honor of his memory and what he started and what's going today?
And I want to point out, his wife is still on the board.
That's right.
And so...
And you're on the board, too. Thank you.
Yeah, but I just think it would be a blessing to her to hear what happened at the end of Point of View, that a bunch of listeners came forward and said, you know what, I've been listening to this program, for 40 years or for 30 years, and what a blessing it's been, and in honor of Marlon Maddox, who started this whole thing, I'm going to give a gift. I think that would touch her. So I do challenge everybody. Now's a great time to give a gift for a great ministry, and And I think she would be blessed by that as well.
I agree. 1-800-347-5151. 1-800-347-5151. Let us know you're giving in honor of Marlon Maddox.
You know, he was a visionary, and as I said a minute ago, he was prescient. And I think one of the things he did that was prescient was to bring Kerby Anderson in here. And, you know, so as we think about this, Kerby Anderson is the one who keeps this show on track, as you know, as we know. So, you know, one of the smartest things Marlon did, I mean, he did many wise and smart things and took advantage of the technology of the day, but he brought Kerby here, and Kerby has kept this show on track. He's brought in so much to the show. So, you know, think about that when you give the gift in honor of Marlon.
Right. And Marlon also brought in Penna Dexter as the woman's correspondent. And then you realized every issue is a woman's issue, which was kind of fun. Let's real quickly hear from Taylor in Texas. Taylor, we only got a second or two, but tell us why you're giving to Point of View today.
Well, hello, Kerby, Penna, Brad, and Kelly. I just wanted to let y'all know that I greatly thank God for all four of y'all and the work that y'all do and Point of View Ministries. I'm one of those, few but very proud conservative millennials. I'm 25 years old, and I've been listening to Point of View for about 12 years now. And it's just been such an impact on me because in high school, when I first became aware of the political spectrum and all that, and then the culture wars going on, I was conservative ideologue, basically, going with whatever conservatives said. But after listening to the show, over the years, I realized that I'm supposed to be for truth. I'm supposed to be a Christian and then a conservative, and I'm supposed to look at all this that's going on around us in today's culture through a biblical lens. And I can't thank y'all enough for that.
Sure. And it sounds like you're wise beyond your years, too. I mean, I'm just amazed that we're hearing from a lot of millennials now, in part because we're really trying to program to them, as you know, on our Wednesday Roundtable.
Well, and, one of those that's on your program is one of our employees, Chelsea Yeoman.
We love Chelsea.
The folks that we've got around, Hiram just said the other day, and I think many people know Hiram's our general counsel, he looked at one of our younger lawyers and said, she should be running this place. I mean, she's literally brilliant, Harvard, graduate, et cetera, and what she's accomplishing in cases and speaking and everything else. There really is some hope for the future at some of these young folks and their understanding of the truth and what they're doing.
Hey, guys, as we close out this hour, let's remind everybody you can still give to Point of View all tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, into next week. pointofview.net. Write that down, pointofview.net. And the phones are still open, 1-800-347-5151. Let's get every single line going, 1-800-347-5151.
As Brad said, we will still take a few more phone calls after we go off the air, but you can go to the website. And first of all, Brad, I want to thank you for giving us an entire week here once again.
It's been wonderful as usual. What a great group of people. Guys, Point of View is the real deal.
And Penna and Kelly, thank you for being a part of this for so many years as well.
It's a privilege.
It's an honor.
We are out of time, but it's certainly an opportunity for you to still give. So let's just one more time mention 800-347-5151. You can still make that phone call. And, of course, pointofview.net. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. I want to thank Andrew and Steve. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Every day there are challenges to living as a faithful Christian, but each of those challenges is also an opportunity to influence the culture for Christ. Don't be caught without a response when your coworker says she's moving in with her boyfriend, or when your neighbor wonders what's wrong with supporting transgender rights. Your investment in Point of View Radio equips nearly 1.5 million people to speak the truth in love. We are thankful for those who have given this week, and though the week is over, our work is not. Your investment can change a life, and for a few more hours, that investment will be doubled up to $10,000. Visit pointofview.net/team or call 1-800-347-5151. Choose your level of giving. The greater the investment, the greater the impact. And thanks to a ministry friend, whatever you choose will be doubled, and that includes your monthly gift for an entire year. Today is the final day. Pointofview.net/team and 800-347-5151. 800-347-5151. Point of View is produced by Point of View Ministries.